what's up guys? Jason here from BJJ Martial Arts. One of the things that we get asked a lot is how to escape bad positions. As a white belt, the answer I was always told was just don't end up there in the first place. If you don't get your guard passed, you never end up in side control, which is a pretty valid point. But I got my guard passed a lot. So I thought we'd start off with side control today. So I'm going to cover first and foremost, the most important thing is just not getting submitted while you're down here. So if I am flat here, Drew's got side control on me, all right, and I have my arms out, right, he's got shoulder pressure, he's blocking my hip, he's gonna make life miserable. What a lot of people do by mistake is they tend to panic. Like some people will grab on, all right, and they'll waste their energy trying to hold the person here. You're not gonna escape this way, all right? Anytime that my arm is out, he can grab arm locks, wrist locks, he can choke me, things like that. All right, so the things I have to think about are surviving first so that I don't get submitted, all right? So the number one thing I have to do is find a way to hide this arm. So an easy way to do this is first I'm gonna relieve the shoulder pressure by taking my index finger, right? And I'm gonna find kind of his armpit where his shoulder is, right? And I'm just gonna peel that down just a little bit so that I can move my head. From here, I'm gonna give him a little quick bump, right? And I'm gonna tuck my hand and hide it between my chest and his. So now if he goes to try to arm lock me, he's gonna give me space. That's the number one thing. So I can hang out here for a little while. Now this isn't a forever position. Eventually, yes, he's going to get smart and he's going to find a way to beat you. But the thing that I have to think about is short term, all right, isolate the limbs, protect my neck, all right? Right now my hand is here. If I can get it on the inside, it's even better, all right? So now there's no shoulder pressure crushing my face, right? And my hand is near my collar so I can protect that. So one of my favorite escapes to do from here would be the knee elbow escape, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my leg that's nearest to his body, all right, and I'm gonna just drive it into his hip, all right? I always kind of reinforce that with my other leg. The idea that I think about is it's like a nail, all right? This is the nail and this is the hammer, right? I'm trying to hammer that knee into his hip. Now from here, there's different variations of this, and I'll go over two, all right, with hand position. So the first one is I have my hand here near my face on the inside of his arm. This is actually ideal if I can get here, all right? Because all I have to do is little tiny baby shrimps, all right? I'm just gonna take that foot that's on the ground and I'm gonna start to slowly walk my hips away. Now what happens, if you raise up for a second, I'm creating a wedge with my shin and my forearm, all right? So my shin is blocking his hip, right? And my forearm is blocking his shoulder from coming in. So even if he puts a lot of pressure on me, right, it doesn't take much effort for me now. Once I feel that my shin goes across his belt line, I'm gonna swing my head away, all right? So now he no longer has that angle, all right? And I'm just gonna hip out a little bit and I can start pulling him into my guard. Let's do that from this angle, all right? So here, we start off, this is worst case scenario. Drew has all the inside control. He's smashing my face. Oh, yeah, good pressure, buddy. All right, so the first thing I need to do is deal with this, all right? And while protecting this, all right? So a lot of times, I can actually push his head towards my head, which gives me a little opening, and I can just relieve that pressure here, quick bump, all right, and I hide that arm, all right? From here, my knee that's nearest his body goes into his hip, all right, and I start to just kind of ratchet myself away. Once I have this frame, this wedge, all right, I'm able to push myself away, all right? Once I clear this, right, look, right now I have good control of his arm, I can start to re-guard and immediately look to get into attacking position. Now, another variation of this will be sometimes, you're not gonna be able to relieve this pressure too well, all right? So it's better to block the hips, especially if you have a guy who can move really well. So what I'll do in this instance is instead of trying to get the inside control here, I'm gonna bring my elbow to the mat, all right? And I'm knife handing his hip. I don't wanna go grab or go palm down because if he switches his hips right now, he's gonna wrist lock me. Well, I'm technically wrist locking myself with his body, right? So I'm wedging here, right? And I'm again using this motion to help swing this arm on the inside. Now, and the other frame I can use is by taking my hand, all right, to his shoulder, right, and then kind of using my forearm in his neck a little bit. So now there's tons of space, all right, which makes it easy for me to cut that knee inside. As soon as my knee and elbow connect, again, I'm swinging my head away, right? Anytime I can create distance, this is good for escapes, all right? And from here, get grips, grab the collar, the sleeve, doesn't matter, and I start pulling them into my guard. Now, what will happen sometimes is you won't create enough space, right? And this is really common in an actual roll because he's not gonna just give up this position so easily, right? I get to here, I start to come out, but he's staying kind of tight, right? And what'll happen is this leg will get stuck, all right? If that happens, I'm gonna bite with the free leg, I'm gonna switch to the opposite hip, All right, when you see this happen, it's really easy for me to circle my foot out and come back to close guard. All right, if you're a half guard player, you can use the same concept to get to half guard and things like that. All right, so this is probably my favorite go-to option. All right, now, even though it works a lot of the times, it's not going to work every time. So we need to have a plan B. All right, if I can get to here, right, I'm hiding that hand, right, maybe I'm blocking his hip, right, I couldn't get this, relieve this pressure here. All right, another option, and again, we do this in our warm-ups, so we practice stripping to our belly, right? I'm gonna bump, and this time I have to get on my side, right? So I'm trying to do this all in one violent motion. Sean Hammers explained this to me one time. Imagine you have a giant boulder on your chest, right, and you're gonna use your hips to pop that thing off of you. If you lay there, it's gonna fall back down and crush you, which is exactly what happens when you're rolling with guys with good side control. So when I bump, I'm gonna turn to my side immediately. So when he comes down, I now have an underhook, all right? So from here, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna switch to my stomach, right? I'm gonna come up, all right? And now I'm controlling this far leg, and I'm driving with my shoulder, all right? And switching that position. So let's look at that from this side. So again, here, little bump, get the hand aside, and I'm blocking his hip. I don't want him to be able to come forward, and this is the only thing that's really stopping him from transitioning into like north-south or something at this point, right? So I big bump, and I shoot my underhook at the same time. Now, if you look at where my head is, it's against my arm. If my head is out here, he can cross face, and now I'm in a really bad spot because he's gonna start attacking my arms. So by keeping my head low, if he tries to cross face now, it's not gonna work. There's nothing for him to grab onto, right? I switch my hips, and if you guys look, right now it's like a head-to-head battle. When I start to come up, I can turn that corner and drive, clear that knee, and end up in side control on top. Let's look at that one more time from this angle here. You should be able to do these on both sides, right? So here, bad spot, hide that arm. I bump it in between my chest and his chest, right? When I'm ready to make my escape, big bridge, shoot that underhook right away. Head stays low, switch, come up, and I'm driving and reversing that position. Okay, so these are probably two of my favorite go-to escapes. And we have one more option. So I'm gonna do it first from this side, and then we'll do it from another angle so you can see what Drew's doing with his hands. All right, if both of his hands are on the same side of my body, right, the knee elbow escape will not work. All right, he's blocking my hip with, blocking my hip with his hand, preventing my knee from getting cut back inside. All right, so the underhook escape does work in this instance. Some guys are really good at switching sides really fast, side to side. All right, so you have to have a third option. Now this one seems a little counterintuitive. So here, I start with a frame, just like before. Now, this hand that's by his hip, I'm gonna sneak it between my chest and his. So this time when I go to bump, I'm gonna turn the opposite direction. This hand is gonna come across and block his arm from grabbing onto anything. All right, now, again, this seems counterintuitive because you're turning your back, all right? So you can't hang out here at all right? As soon as I get to this position, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up on my shoulder, I'm gonna walk my butt away, all right? Swing my legs back in, all right? And I'm gonna do this, I think about like casting a net. I'm going really wide, and I'm trying to catch his body, all right? Do it from here, and we'll do it from the other side as well. All right, so again, we start off here, I have my frame, I try knee elbow escape, oh, he's blocking my hip, it's bad, right? So this hand that's knife handing his hip is gonna sneak inside. And a lot of times guys like this because he's gonna start looking for red cutters and things like that. So I bump and I run, all right? Notice my hips are way high off the ground, and when I do this, I'm gonna use my butt like a weapon, all right, as I swing back in. Now, sometimes you get lucky and this will happen, right? You can immediately start attacking triangles and things like that. All right, let's watch that from over here. All right, he's checking the hip, right? This is bad. The elbow escape's not working, right? I know he might be good at switching, so when I hide this hand, I bump, and I shoot it across, right? I get up on my shoulder, I start to walk, right? Swing my legs out wide, and pull him back into my guard. So those are 3 escapes that I like to use. And again, you can chain all these together. So you try one, it's not working, or they counter it. You just start switching back and forth, right? Play around with it a little bit, and eventually you'll be able to start getting out more and more often. All right, guys, hope this one helps. We'll see you soon. Lewis.